is having a belief and a trust in the future.
Give women and men the opportunity to turn their lives around and walk away from the things that have broken their lives.
It allows me to know that God is there for me, that I don't really have to worry about anything.
Gives you a purpose, gives you something to live for.
I always thought I was a loser. I wasn't feeling down and out. I was down and out. Just living the way that I'm living right now.
You know, having faith in God, putting my trust in God.
Hope is like a dream to me. It's like, hope, you know, you hope for the better and put the worst behind you.
They actually do so much. Yeah. And we're only there one evening, and yet they're there every day. And even we're giving food. They also usually have some tables that they give people choices of clothing or toys or something.
I think it's in a lot of ways. There's the obvious way that they're just providing hope to men and women who are trying to get over addictions and get their lives out of places that have not been the best places.
Life in Bridgeport is about as tough as it gets. So something as simple as food, bath, and shelter is enormous if you've been living in a box underneath the thruway bridge.
Ended up in Yale, New Haven Hospital on a stretcher out in the hall. I had nowhere to return to, no home, no family wanted me around. I had no shelter. Besides having an alcohol addiction, I have anorexia. And I couldn't get into treatment to like all the places I tried to because they didn't want to take somebody who had a second addiction. And the mission knew from the minute I interviewed on the phone, they knew I had an eating disorder, and they reached out and let me come and took the vow to try to help me.
The Bridgeport Rescue Mission opens its doors to all people, and it is willing to bring people in and then demonstrate to them God's love by the way they treat all people, and then allow people to make their own choices as to how they wish to live their life and how they wish to change.
The Bridgeport Rescue Mission is they really are trying to save lives.
Women that come in with kids, we give them formula, Pampers, baby food, necessity like vegetables, canned goods, cereal, and you know, some of the spaghetti. We throw meat in there every now and then. Basically, whatever their needs are, we try to, you know, fulfill their needs. That's what the food box does for them.
Because at first, when I first got there, they were just doing 5 boxes a day. Now, we doing like 15, 20, 25 boxes a day.
Probably the most surprising thing I found out about the mission was that I didn't need to be intimidated about going there.
I think it's one thing to put a check in the collection plate. It's something else to place a tray of food in somebody's hands.
Kids for Kids, we were thinking about, okay, we're going to do gifts, or it was Christmas, we're going to wrap them, and it's going to be really amazing, and these beautiful packages. And Linda said, well, you know what? We basically need underwear. And a toothbrush.
In a stocking.
And socks. Here it is. You know, you're thinking, and gosh, a pair of underwear, socks, a toothbrush, and what that would do for somebody.
How many places can you give your money and then go give your time, volunteer, do one of 100 things?
The best thing I get out of it, like when we served, like last night we served almost 100 people. Them 100 people, 98 went by after they finished eating and said thank you. That's one of the best paychecks you can get.
I don't know where I would be if I didn't go to the mission right now.
If they didn't exist, I think I probably would have still been out there, or in jail, or gone, maybe dead. Yeah.
Honestly, I'd be dead probably. I wouldn't have made it. Look at me. The Bridgeport Rescue Mission has really changed my life. I'm an entirely different person now.
It is important for us to work with Bridgeport to change that community. To do that, we can do it by investing in the mission, because they go to the streets, bring people in, allow them to change, allow them to have hope, allow them to see the future. That is really what it's all about. And it can't happen unless there are people like all of us who are committed to support, not only with our time and our energy, but with our funds.
By just giving up our coffee once a week maybe, but it's so important that we think about the opportunity we have to help our neighbors and the people that Christ has commissioned us to reach out and love. Think about giving in a big way to reach out to these people who don't have anything.
There's a marvelous book out, and I wish I could recall the title of it, but it has to do with moving from success to significance. And significance is when we don't think about ourselves, but we think about what can we do to help other people. Bridgeport Rescue Mission is local. We deal with local people, and so we want to invest specifically in a specific group of folks that, as the scriptures tell us, all of us like sheep have gone astray, sort of turned and done our own thing. And these are people that live in our communities of Bridgeport and Fairfield and the surrounding areas that have taken a wrong turn and followed specifically drugs, alcohol, things of that nature. And so we hone in on those specifically where we think that we can really help and turn them. And so we do the job that a lot of churches can't do because they may not have the resources and the personnel to do that. So we just see ourselves as an extension of the church family. I don't believe we can outgive God. I think as God directs us, we give to other organizations. And I think Bridgeport Rescue Mission is one of the major organizations that deal in helping people turn their lives around and be free from drugs and alcohol. And so I think it's a worthy cause.
Well, I'd like to thank all of them for accepting me to come here, because that's where I found God. I mean, I was really angry at God at one time for taking my 2 kids. But then when I started reading the Bible and when Jesus got crucified, what he went through, I couldn't be mad at him like that, man, what his son went through, because my sons didn't really suffer. They gone, but they didn't suffer like that. So I think he forgave me because I don't have that hurt in my heart no more. So I just like to thank them for accepting me there and giving me this chance to do God's work.
If you want to see what we're doing, come down and see for yourself.